welcome to my channel. This is SideMind, and this can be another video on using D&D Beyond. And this is going to be to add a known sorcerer spell to a character. Now what we mean by that is a spell that gets added to the character that can be used with their spell slots. So this came out in the forums. It's from a while ago where somebody asked, how do you make a feat that has an additional specific spell known to a sorcerer that works exactly like any other known sorcerer spell? The correct answer is you can't. You can add class spells or spells that can be used with a spellcasting class feature, like using a feat or a magic item or something like that. The only way that I know of is to edit the subclass. I think you can also edit the race. That's not something I've actually tested though. It also feels weird to do that with a race rather than a class. Because I do know you can add to the spell list with the class, the race, but anyway. So yeah, so magic items and feats at least, and backgrounds, they can't add a known spell. So they won't add a spell unless you set like limited uses, like limited by day or limited by proficiency bonus. You'll otherwise go at will, which will look confusing. And the only way to use it with spell slots is to manually check off your spell slots. There is a way, however, to use a class feature to add the feat to add it onto your character, which can be done in a number of ways. But let's take a look. So I got a character here that I just made up, just using these recommended startup settings. Quick build, whatever it's called. So let's say that I'm playing a game and my DM decides that some wizard or some dragon or something decides to give me Featherfall, just as an extra known spell. Great, we can add that in. The only problem is we'd have to edit the subclass. So in order to edit a subclass, you need to be able to have purchased it, or it needs to be one of the free ones. In this case, it is the Dragon Sorcerer, which is the free one that you get. So let's take a look at how to do that. So we go to Collections and create subclass. I'm going to open a new tab. There we go. So we're just editing it and creating our own homebrew copy to add features that we want. We can choose select an existing subclass as template. You have to choose a main class first, so Sorcerer. Then you can either create from scratch or you can create a copy, which is what we're going to do now. And click on button line, create. So here, what we're going to do is we are going to, what I prefer to do is to mark it somehow like with a little star, just something I know that it's going to be, it's my homebrew version and not the default, because it will otherwise pop up. Version 1 doesn't really matter. Unfortunately, the descriptions are, it doesn't copy the descriptions, but we do have options here where we can go to the short description. Doesn't really matter because it's only used when the ability already passed that stage. So all we can do is just click this. Actually, we don't need. We'll do those later. So description has to be version of. We help if I can spell properly. Tonic. What would come with gold? And this is just something so that when we're selecting it in our character builder, the very start, we choose that the first race. That's when it comes up with the short description. doesn't appear anywhere else. This is just it's a reminder for you to know that this is the HP version as well. The description would go here, so it's copied. We need to change any of this. This would be where you don't need to change this because it's already. You'd only use can cast spells if you're creating a subclass that normally doesn't have spellcasting. For example, if you're like a fighter and you wanted to create something similar to the Eldritch Knight that can then cast spells, you then set that to yes. Alternatively, if you want to create a spellcaster that normally, if you want to create a class that would normally cast spells, you then set it to no and stop the spellcasting. This is so that you can add a specific class onto the spellcasting list. So, for example, if you were a cleric, but you also wanted to add in the sorcerer's list of spells, you can just use sorcerer and add it. You can also select individual specific spells here, and what you put there will then be able to be selected as part of the normal thing. I'll probably go over this some other time. At the moment, just if you're just editing a subclass, you don't need to change anything. Just the description, save changes. And then we can you can always edit a feature, but you can create a new feature. In this case, we're just going to go here. So we're just going to say moon by, I don't know. I'm going to say Elzeroth. I can't even spell a made up thing, but so this is just the homebrew notes. So this will be the notes that can be relevant to us. So when we're looking at a list of features, we know that this is just adding this feature and where it's coming from. So I'm assuming that in this particular fake scenario, we met a dragon, recognized that we're a dragon sorcerer, and decided to give us this boon that could add featherfall. And we probably flavor it like, when we're using it, we can add some wings or something. We're going to put the class level as just 1. It's always best to have the correct class level be either the level that you're at or level lower, so that it's automatically applying. It doesn't actually matter if it's 1 less or whatever. So if you're just adding a feature for the sake of convenience, it's usually better to just put it in as 1. Display order doesn't matter. We'll just put in 1. Who cares? That's all 1. Now with the feature type, always use granted. The additional and replacements are based off of making use of Tasha's options. We're not doing that, we're just adding a feature, so it's just granted. Leave that blank. That's created, so then we can add something to it. So in this case, we can add spells, so we can add a spell. Featherfall. Doesn't matter. This shouldn't really matter, but we'll just put charisma just in case. We leave the rest of it blank because this is where we would be adding limited uses if we wanted to. We're not going to, it's just going to be a normal spell. I'm going to leave casting level as blank, it's going to be whatever we want to use it as. You could change like casting times, activation types, ranges. For example, if you wanted to create a self-only version, you could override it to self, in which case it would only affect yourself instead of everyone else, and that would change the spell description on your character sheet. I can bother with that here, which is going to add as a normal regular to use spell. Consume spell slot would be yes. Counts as no spell. Weirdly enough, we're going to put in no. What they mean by counts as no spell is it going to count against your maximum number of spells known. It's not very clear, to be fair. As a first level sorcerer, you would know 2 spells. If we selected yes, because I already have my 2 spells selected. I went with Mage Armor and Shield because of the basics. This is just 2 or 2. If I had selected characters no spell is yes, you would think I'm trying to add a 3rd spell and creates an error. Not that big of a deal, but it does mean it will interfere the next time you level up and try to add a spell. It won't let you because you're supposed to add 1 more extra on the 2nd level. And as far as the system is concerned, you're now about 3 already. So we say no to it because weirdly enough, whether it counts as using spell slot and stuff is only determined by this. This determines whether it counts as against our maximum or not. And always prepared isn't used for sorcerers, so it doesn't matter at all. It only matters if you were a wizard or cleric or druid, and it just determines whether or not this would count as an always prepared, which means it's always collected, it's always available, without it counting as. So if you say yes, it would never count against your limit of prepared spells. We don't need to bother with that. Just do it as 0. Don't need to worry about that. I can probably put it as 1, I suppose. So yeah. Save. And then always save again, the orange one. I don't know why it makes you have to do it twice, but it is what it is. That's done. So if we were to go to our character, we would now have to change it from the subclass we're currently using to the one we want to use. We go to Builder, and then where it says Sorcerer's Origins in this case. Yeah. It would also help to make sure that your homebrew is on. So go as Sorcerer's Origin. You'll see a whole bunch because I do all those things. The crop is the one with the asterisk there. You might have to reselect your ancestor, but that's not a big deal. And there you go. My Azeroth Dragon to grant for the 4th spot as a no spell. If we were then to do back in, it's kept original sections and now it's added the further 4. And if we were to cast it as normal, use the spell slot. Yeah, and that's it. That's how you add a sorcerer spell to your character as a no spell, like any other normal sorcerer spell. I hope this helps. Thank you very much. Bye.